Okay. We are writing all of our noun endings while I get things adjusted here. Bye. See you next week. Okay. I don't see. I still feel like Luke can't see. All right. Let's do that. Let's bring this over here. Okay. All right. So glasses. All right. Just to remind you, I will write the first letter of each, and then I will write them down. But I want to see. We have the A, the us, the X, and then if to be fancy, you could do the is, the one we just learned. It's the third declension I stem. Yes, you missed that, but you should have. Hopefully, you watched the video. Always watch the video if you're not here, because we moved on. Yes, yes. No, it's not. It's not scary. It's not like it doesn't. Let me make sure. And where does the I go on the I stem? Right in front of the. Boom. All right. All right. I'm just gonna. I don't see it make me nervous if I was writing and somebody was watching over my shoulder while I was writing, so I'm not going to do that. Oh. Here. Oh, here. I'll just. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, sir. All right, I'm going to look over your shoulder to save time.
So what I give my Unit 3 review?
You should have checked it. I mean, I sent everybody the key.
Yeah, I checked it.
Okay, just hang on to it then. Caden, is there anything you missed and you don't know why?
No.
Okay, that's the most important thing. Boom, beautiful, beautiful, Luke. That's the most important thing. I want you to check your work, and always, if you don't know why, like I could have sworn that was the subject. I don't know why that word is not the subject in their translation. Then you need to ask me. But if you say, oh, shoot, of course, that's the subject. I can see it's got a nominative ending. What was I thinking? Then that means just you need practice. But if you translate a sentence like, I don't understand how they got that verb tense. I don't understand why they made that an indirect object. Always ask me that, okay? Because other than that, if you know how it works, it's just practice. I am proud of you guys. I told you to do it, did it. Yay. All right. Now that you've done it, don't forget them. In other words, when you've memorized something, you need to keep practicing it periodically. Sometimes you get to the point where you don't need to do it every day. You know, if I write them all out a couple of times a week, I'm good. And then you get to the point where if I write them all out once a week, I'm good. And then you get to the point where if I do it every other week, I'm good, you know, whenever you memorize something. So now that you've put the oomph in and you got them down, don't let it go. Don't let it disappear, okay? Make sure to keep, you know, like skip a day and then the next day write them all down. Did I still do them right? Skip a couple of days, write them down. Do I still remember? Okay. And if you find yourself slipping, it means I need to do these every day because they're not cemented in there yet. Looks like you got them all pretty good. You did that lickety split. So I'm very pleased. Go ahead and get out the chapter 14 worksheet from last week. We're going to move on to chapter 15.
Does chapter 14 have the new?
Yes. Which actually was very easy. So you need to, if you haven't watched you need to watch the video for the chapter 14 for the class that you missed before break. But what I'd like to do is go through, here, let me go to chapter 15. I would like to take a look at a couple of sentences off you. Do you mind if I just take your worksheet away from you?
It's kind of the same.
It is. These are the I stems. So read through the chapter, just listen to part of the video and you'll be good. It is. They're called I stems. What I'd like to do is just go over a few of these sentences together. Oh, I like this because you've got question marks. All right. And did you, and then, so did you check these or did you just not get to these or did you write them somewhere else? Okay. What I want to do is, okay, let's do this until 11. And then I think at 11, we'll have time to introduce the new thing in chapter 15. Okay. Let's go through some of these sentences. You also need to work as hard on your vocabulary as you do on those endings. I am telling you from bitter experience, if you don't memorize the vocabulary, it makes life miserable when you have to look up every word in the back. It really does. It wasn't a word. Okay. Well, and this wasn't necessarily directed at you. This is just in general. Because sometimes when you come, you're not so good on the most recent words. Do you know what and that's everybody. And I did it. In high school in Latin, I didn't learn my vocabulary the way I should. And I had to look up everything in the back. It took forever. And now I drill and drill and drill my Greek still. And I don't have a huge Greek vocabulary, but I keep drilling them because the thing that I'm reading in Greek, a lot of these words turn up and I really need to make flashcards on the words that I'm not drilling regularly because I got to look them up over and over. Like, shoot, I just looked that word up and I don't remember what it means again. And it just doesn't make translating, it doesn't make reading in another language very fun if you have to look stuff up. Yeah.
Do you teach yourself Greek?
I have taught myself Greek. I got a book and I've been working on it. I wish I had a teacher. I'm taking college classes right now. I'm taking graduate classes and I'm thinking of signing up for a Greek class just to have a teacher to help me with some stuff that I'm not totally sure about. But it's good enough that I can read some Greek, but I got a dictionary. I got to look stuff up, but it is pretty cool. I always wanted to. And so I just decided I'm going to do it. Okay. Let's go through some of these sentences. Okay. These are I'm just taking these off the worksheet. Iter animalium, you know what I should have done? Ad finem. You know what I would like you guys to do? Get that, the endings that you just wrote down for me? Open whatever book you wrote that in. Keep that open. Use that, okay? So that I don't have to write them on the board. Erat longum. Okay. Iter animalium ad finem maris erat longum. What is our verb? Can you guys see? Okay. What is the verb? Erat. And what does erat mean? It goes eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. He, she, or it was. It's the be verb, we call it in English, linking verb. So it doesn't ever have a direct object or an indirect object or anything like that. It just says something exists. Nothing's happening really. So what is something that's nominative that could be the subject of our sentence? Animalium is not because it's animal, animalis. It is one of our I stem neuters that we learned last week.
Does that mean animal?
It does mean animal. Isn't that convenient? I wish all the words were like that and it wouldn't be so hard to learn them. Okay. So animalium though is not, it's actually animal, animalis, animali, animal, animali, animalia, animalium. It's actually genitive and plural. So we're going to have to save that. So any other candidates for a subject? Nominative and singular because it's he, she, or it. Longum is definitely possibly not nominative and singular. Fortunately, longum means long, which is another very convenient. So long isn't really a subject, is it? It's an adjective. Something must be long. We don't know what it is, but it can't really be our subject. What's other candidates? I don't remember what the most recent words. This is why sometimes I feel like our vocabulary is. No, this isn't one you learned it farther ago than just last time. Just for time constraints. Like if we had all day, I would just let you mull it over. But you can guess Maris, but unfortunately it's mare Maris, or it's nominative and genitive, and it is also an I-stem neuter, so it can't be. Yeah, we're process of elimination. It's not odd. So it's iter itinerus. That is the nominative and genitive. So iter is nominative, and it's neuter, and it's singular. It means journey. You know, here's how to remember this. When you plan a trip, that's exactly what I was going to say. You set up an itinerary, right? This is the list of places we're going to go on our journey. An itinerary is your destination list for your journey. Iter. So it means journey, and this is nominative. The journey was. The journey was long. That's the main part of our sentence. I told you this is neuter. And look, they put a neuter ending on long. Because what is long? The journey is long. It's describing journey, so it has to match. Beautiful. Okay, now, I already gave you a heads up because I told you that animalium was genitive plural. So how can I, and we already know it means animal. How could I translate animalium if it's genitive plural?
What are the other two words?
Just a second. Of the animals. The journey of the animals was long. Boom. All right. So what does this mean? To or toward. Does anybody remember what case it always takes? Whatever you're going to or toward is always in this case. No. Accusative. And look what we have. We have a word with an accusative looking ending next. Finis. It's one of your new words from last week, and it means boundary or end or boundary. Boundary would be good in this case. The journey of the animals to the boundary was long. We only have one word left. Maris. And I already told you that mare maris was the nominative and genitive of this word. Does anybody remember what it means? Sea, because what does a submarine do? It goes under the sea.
The journey of the animals to see the boundary.
To the boundary. To the boundary, maris. If it is genitive, to the boundary of the sea, to the edge of the sea.
Oh, I thought it was like look.
Oh, mare? Or, okay. Yeah. So the journey of the animals to the boundary of the sea was long. It always seems easy after you've done it, doesn't it? Do you know? After you know what everything means, like, of course that's what it means. I'm with you. This is my Greek sentence is the same. I'm reading a book by a general named Xenophon, and he took an army and all the way into Persia, and they got trounced, and they have to get out somehow, and they don't know. They've got no supplies. They're sick. But not very much every day, John. Don't be impressed. It goes really, really slowly. Like if I get 5 or 6 sentences, that's awesome day. Why was I talking about that? Oh, the fact that sometimes I get a sentence in there and like, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. And then I look it up. And makes total sense. Of course, that's what it says. Why didn't I see that's what it says? I feel your pain. Okay, next up. Kasai Kivium. And remember to use, I told you to have out your noun endings, so you can consult that. Non errant magni. All right, what is our verb? Errant. Tell me all about it.
Means they are.
You're very
They
close.
were.
They were. Is there anything that is nominative and plural? It's going to have to be plural because we need a they.
They were not.
They were not. Yes, they were not. Very good. What do you think the they could be? We need kasai, because if you look, it's casa. You see, it's nominative and plural. What is a casa? Like casa, su casa? House. Okay. Isn't that it? All the Spanish I know I learned from Sesame Street when I was little, or just movies. Okay. But they say that. Okay. So this is houses. We know it's plural. The houses were not big. And notice they match because what is big? Houses. Notice how the adjectives always have to match. Doesn't mean they will look the same, remember, because they could be different declensions, but it means this one is nominative and plural and feminine. This one is nominative, plural, and feminine, and we know they go together. So we already have all the words but one. The houses were not large, and all we have to do is deal with this thing. It's one of your new words from last week, and it is an I stem. It is citizen. What case is it? It's genitive plural. Yes. The houses of the citizens, or the citizens, it would be this kind of citizens. It's plural, so the apostrophe would go here. The citizens' houses were not big. Excellent. Oh, I was going to say, do they have linking verbs in all of these? Navem in mari vidimus. This one's a short one. Give me a verb. Vidimus. What does it mean? See. So tell me everything you know about it. That is the we see, except if it were we see present tense, it would be video, vides, videt, videmus. It's perfect tense. Because what are the principal parts of video? Video, videre, vidi, visus. All right. Weedy, and it's got the it, ms, is. This is a very tricky one because the vid part just makes you want to make it present tense, but it's perfect. We saw, or we did see, or we have seen. All of those are fine. What did we see? We need a direct object. No, because look on your list. Look at the accusative. What endings can be a direct object? Your next to last row on every single one. Nawem. That is accusative. What is nawis nawis? What does that word mean? It's one of our ship. Yes, it's having a learning session. It's actually trying to answer. It's translating the sentence for us currently. It's a brilliant, it's a genius cat. I don't know if you know that. I speak cat, and it's just totally translated this. That's not true at all. That cat could learn Latin. It could knock on doors. It could learn Latin. Okay. We saw a ship. Direct object. We saw a ship. Now, what does in mean? In or on. All right. In or on. On what? In what? Well, no, because That we already dealt with ship. In the sea. Remember, mare. Let's just do. I'm going to decline mare for you. It's a neuter. I stem. Crazy, right? Mare, maris, mari, mare, Marie with an I again, Maria, Mariam, Maribus, Maria, Maribus. Okay, that's just crazy. Animal, the neuter third declension I stems. So Marie could be this, and it could be this. Which one do you think it is? The dative or the ablative? No, this is our direct object. We saw what? We saw ship. You know, say it. Oh, did the ship? Did the sea get the ship? I suppose in a sense, but here's. Let me. Yes. Why? How do you know? Because I said it wasn't the other. No, that is true. That's no. Okay. Here's the question we ask: what case does in take? The ablative, unless it means into. So it has the next word. When you see in, it has to be ablative or accusative. It never takes the dative, ever. Right? I know. She's saying this like we should just know. All right. We saw a ship on the sea. Like all that work for such a little, goofy, silly sounding sentence. Really? Okay. Well, okay, we got time. All right. Ooh, here's a long one. Parentes, arum, circum, column, infantis, posue runt. I feel like this is going to be a hard sentence. We may be the last. This may be the last one that we do before we start the new one. Okay, find me a verb. Posue runt. What's it mean? What's it come from? It is not a new one. We should have learned this one before. Ooh, say it louder. But, oh, you're so close. It's pono, ponery. It's third. Posui, positus.
Is this warm?
What?
To warm?
It's not. It's monio. Do you? Does positus help? Maybe not. It means put or place. Position. The word position. A position is where I put it. It's in that position. Okay, so now that you know, it means put or place. And you know, you see that it's the third principal part with the errant. Can you translate it for me? It is perfect tense. They placed. Now, the question is, who are the they? We need nominative. The parents. See, you can see on your list, we have a nominative plural. Parens, parentis. It's third declension. The parents placed. What did they place? They cannot place the infant because it's infans, infantis.
Oh, is it the gold?
The gold. The gold.
Second word is gold.
Yes. Aurum. It could be subject, but it can't be the subject here because it's they.
But around
the neck of the
Yes. Yeah. The parents placed gold around the neck of the infant. They put a necklace, which you probably should never do because the infant will choke itself to death. They will probably break before the infant chokes itself.
Or it'd be too heavy for it.
Or it'd be too heavy, and it'd be a really heavy-duty gold necklace. Yeah, probably the infant's not crawling yet. We're thinking about this sentence way more than we need to. Okay, let's go through it. Okay, so we know that These has to be the subject because they're nominative and they're plural. They're the only thing that's nominative and plural in the whole sentence. The parents placed. Now, we see arum, e-o, it can be a subject, but like I said, can't be a subject in this sentence because our subject has to be plural. So it must be the direct object. The parents placed gold. We know Kirkham means around, like circumference is the distance around a circle, right? I'm going to ask you the question again. The answer is on the board. What case does Kirkham take? Yes, it takes the accusative around the neck. Whatever you're doing, putting around is always accusative. Around the neck. And then I told you right here that it's infans, infantis. I told you it was genitive around the neck of the infant. Okay. Keep practicing your noun endings, but maybe you don't have to do them every day. Like do them at least 3 times this week. How about that? 2 or 3 times. Do vocabulary. Go back through whatever your method is. If you have them on index cards to be flashcards, go through them. If you, unfortunately, they don't really have them arranged in the back in a way that, they're not grouped by lesson. You can't really just use the back because some of them you haven't learned yet. But keep going back. So you've learned 14 chapters. And say you want to do 4 days of Latin. Say today is a day of Latin and you're doing 4 more days of Latin. So 14 divided by 4, unfortunately, does not work. So you have to do 3 or 4 lessons a day. If you went over the vocabulary, drilled 3 or 4 lessons worth a day from the beginning of the book. And what I always did with my son is, if you're doing them right out of the book and you're covering up the meanings and you're going, if you miss it, put a little pencil mark by it and then do it again the next day.
They have it by chapter.
Oh, where?
We have everything by chapter and everything by.
Oh, in the back. Oh, in the back. See, I wonder if mine, because this is the teacher. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Then, then use the reference for vocabulary and just, perfect. This makes it so easy. Go back here and do 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 lessons a day. And if you miss it, put a little pencil mark. And when you go to it the next day, do the pencil marked ones first. When you nail it, you can erase the pencil mark, right? I finally got it. It might take you 2 or 3 times before you go back and get it, all right? You need to do the most recent ones more often, okay? Which we're going to learn some new ones. But let's talk about what we're going to learn in chapter 15. Okay. You have learned 3rd declension nouns, right? You just wrote down the endings for me. We have learned nouns that are like rex, regus, regi, regem, rege, reges, regum, regibus, reges, regibus. Okay, regular 3rd declension. We've also learned some I'm not going to do the regular neuters, okay, but some 3rd declension I stems like kiwis, kiwis, kiwi, kiwim, kiwe, kiwes, kiwium, that's our I stem, kiwibus, kiwes, kiwibus. And then we've learned crazy neuter I stems like mare, maris, mari, mare, because it's neuter. Marie, it's got a weird I right there for no good reason. Maria, Mariam, Maribus, Maria, Maribus. Okay. Let's keep these on the board for reference. And let's talk about something else. You have learned a bunch of adjectives in this book. In fact, I have written down all of the adjectives that you have learned. Aeneas, bonus, magnus, multus, pius, sacrus, tutus, laetus, validus, vivus, vulneratus, mortuus, optimus, timidus, carus, dexter, ceteri, liber, notus, squalidus, parvus, praecipius. If you don't know what all those mean, do some vocabulary review, okay? Did you notice that almost all of them end in us? Because all of them are like bonus. What does bonus mean? This is an easy one. Good. And whenever we see them in the vocabulary list, they'll write them like this: or they'll write bonus, bona, bonum. Why does an adjective have more than one ending group? Why don't they just pick one? Are they indecisive? Why do I need all of them? So they can go with different genders. Yes. Remember, an adjective always matches its noun in number, gender, and case. So if I have a good boy, he's a bonus puer because puer is masculine. If I have a good gift, it's a bonum donum. If I have a good girl, it's a bona puella. I have to have options because my adjective has to match, okay? We call this group of adjectives, all the ones you've learned, first and second declension, or I just call them us-a-um, because they have the endings us-a-um. They use the endings that you wrote out, I, us, e-o, o, e-o, They use those endings. Not all adjectives in Latin are us, adjectives. Some of them use third declension endings. Oh, I know. This is why I really needed you to learn the third declension endings. Really needed that. And unfortunately, there are several groups of them. Please look at the vocabulary for chapter 15. For me, it's on page 103. Take a look, and we are going to look at, there are a bunch of adjectives. Are they all on this page, or are there more on the next page? Oh, they're all on this page. Excellent. Okay. So look where it says adjectives. Everybody with me? Now, I'm running my eyes down the list, and one of them jumps out. Aptus a Do you see? None of the other ones have, oh, I'm sorry. Publicus a Those are both like bonus. Aptus means apt, suitable, fitting, or proper. Publicus means public. That's easy. Those are us, adjectives. They do the same thing as all the adjectives you've learned so far. Does that make sense to everybody? Because it says us, But the other ones don't say us, And it's those we're going to take a look at. Let's look at the first one. Acer, acris, acre. It means sharp. That can mean like sharp, like a knife. It can also mean you have a sharp mind. They used it both ways. Eager, severe, or fierce. And it has 3 forms, which, you know what? So does bonus. Bonus, bona, bonum. So we're used to adjectives having 3 forms. And you could probably guess it's nominative, it's masculine, feminine, and neuter. That's why it has 3 forms, just like bonus. Turn the page with me to the next page. All right. And it has another one of these, Calere, Caleris, Caleri. This is another one. It means swift, by the way. It doesn't mean celery. If you eat celery swiftly, then you can choke it down, maybe. If you make celery, okay, be a memory device. You know, the stuff on celery that balls up in your mouth. You know what I mean, the strings. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, awesome. You should. Then you eat it swiftly because you love it. Okay. No, it doesn't mean celery. It's swift. Now look at how it has a masculine, a feminine, and a neuter. Calere, caleris, calere. And look at its endings. Notice how in the first row, they're all normal third declension endings except for the ablative singular. Look at the ablative singular. It's like Mari. It's got an I. They usually have an E, but these have an I. But notice that the masculine and the feminine are exactly the same, except for the first one, the nominative. And then notice how the neuter is a neuter I stem. It's just like mare. That is the first group of third declension adjectives. They're normal third declension endings, except for the I. And in the plurals, they're just like, well, I suppose we could say that they're pretty much just like mare. So if you haven't learned mare, the neuter, I stem, third declension, you need to make sure you have that down, because that's what these adjectives are like. But flip back to the vocabulary with me, because I see acer, acris, acre, and celer, celeris, celeri, but some of them only have two listed. Look at brewis, brewis, brewe, short or brief. It's only got two endings. What's up with that? Well, turn your page again to where it says omnis. Do you see the chart that has omnis? Omne? Omnis means all or every. It's got two endings. Masculine and feminine are the same for these. And the neuter is the crazy mare neuter. So some of these adjectives have a nominative that's masculine, feminine, or neuter. Some have two nominatives. Let's take a look at some. Go back to your vocabulary. Let's look at some more of those. Fortis, forte, strong or brave. Ingens, ingentus, huge. Juvenus, juvenus, young or youthful. Yes, it is. This is the adjective youthful, and the other one, juventus, is a young man, but they are related, and you can use that to help you learn them. Omnis, omne, means all or every. That's why omni, God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, means he has all power, all knowledge. He's in all places, omni. Synex, sinus, means old. Sometimes they use it as a noun and they just mean an old man. And gravis, grave, serious, important, or weighty. Weighty can mean actually heavy. It can mean like serious. We were discussing weighty matters. And we don't mean they actually were heavy, that we were carrying the matters around. It means they were really serious. They use it both ways. All of those decline well, not all of those, I'm sorry. Well, omnis, all the ones with two. I shouldn't have read ingens, ingentus. Ingens, ingentus only has one form. That's the nominative and the genitive. And that's the third chart. Do you see the ingens, ingentus chart? Okay. Now, here's what you need to do. You need to be familiar with all three of these ways of decline. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out, we are not going to start a new chapter next week. We're going to spend a couple of weeks here. But that doesn't mean, oh, I have another week, I'm not going to bother with it. Don't have that attitude. Work as hard as you can. And what I would do is maybe keep writing out these charts. It will get easier because you've learned these endings now. You just kind of have to learn the places where they're different. The ablative singular that has an I, and the crazy I stem neuters. But we need to learn how to decline these, okay? Does everybody understand there are three different groups here? Some of them on the list have three endings. Some of them have two. And then ingens and juvenus, that's the nominative and genitive, all right? Ingens, ingentus, juvenus, juvenus. Now let's talk about how to use them, okay? I already said that if I had a good boy, he's a bonus puer. If I have a good gift, it's a bonum donum. And if I have a good girl, it's a bona puella, because they always match in number, gender, and case. All right, so let's take a look at these. Let's take our boy, our gift, and our girl, and let's give them a different adjective. Let's give them one of our new adjectives. Let's make him a eager boy. I see eager is aker, akris, akre. Which one of those is masculine? What order do they usually give them to us in? I'm looking at the vocabulary. The first adjective, aker, akris, acre. It means sharp or eager. And I want to say he's an eager boy in Latin. Which one of those? Should I pick aker, akris, or acre? Aker. And if you're not sure, look at your chart, your Keller. We see aker is the masculine. But what if it's an eager girl? Which one should I choose for girl? Which one is feminine? Chris, the second one. All right. And then I'm sorry that an eager gift doesn't, it could be a sharp gift. I got you a sword for Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a sword. It's sharp. It's a sharp gift. Which one of those is neuter? Aker, akris, acre. Which one is neuter? Acre. So do you see how I've used these? I picked the masculine one to go with the masculine noun, an eager boy. I picked the feminine one to go with the feminine noun, an eager girl. I picked the neuter one to go with the neuter noun. But they don't look the same at all. But they still match because these are both singular, they're both masculine, and they're both nominative. These are both singular and feminine and nominative. Do you see? We've done the same thing in the opposite way. We've had a third declension noun, Rex, and called him a good king. And you see how they don't match? Because this one is an asa adjective, and that's a third declension noun. Now we're going the other direction. Now we have third declension adjectives, and they can go with first and second declension nouns. Does that make sense? Remember, matching doesn't mean they look the same. Matching means they're both the same number, singular or plural, they're the same gender, and they're the same case. If that's true, they match, even if they don't look the same. Now, if I wanted it, let's pick a strong or brave. Strong or brave only has two choices, fortis, forte. So he can be a strong boy and a strong girl, and it's the same ending because it only has two choices. Does that make sense? These are both masculine and feminine, and then I choose the neuter one, a strong gift. So I need you to learn how to use these adjectives. To that end, I have given you, I have, oh, here, this is yours. I have a worksheet. So remember again, I print this out because I feel like maybe the little layout of the days helps you, but this syllabize and put the accents. Remember, we're not doing that. You don't have to do that. But on the next page, we have following the example of Keller, Kellerus, Kellere, the examples in your book. Decline, aker, acre, acre. Following the example of omnis omne, decline, fortis forte, and brevis breve. It tells you, follow the example. All you have to do is do it like they did in the chart. But as you do that, you're practicing them, okay? We have more of the derivatives, which helps you learn the new words. Oh, I need to go over the rest of the words too. And then there's a section here. Everybody look on page 154 on this sheet, okay? And I'm going to look over Luke's head. I want to show you, you can you see it okay? Okay. So here's what they want you to do. It says, make all the following adjectives in parentheses agree with the noun they follow in number, case, and gender. So I look at hostile, and I know hosta means spear, and I know that is either, you tell me, what could hostile be? AE, what could that be?
First declension.
It is first declension, but what cases could it be? What cases and numbers could it be? AE.
Genitive or dative or nominative.
Yes, it could be genitive or dative, singular, or nominative, plural. It says provide all possibilities. So you're going to have to write aker as genitive singular, dative singular, and nominative plural, feminine. Let's do it. And then I need to, okay, so hostile. What is the adjective? Omnis? Or what? Aker. Hosta. Hostile. And it says, give all the possible forms of aker that could go with this. And we know I, I. We know it can be these three things. So we have to look at our list. Look at our aker, acris. It's like Keller, Kelleris. What is feminine dative singular? I'm looking at the chart. The Keller, Kelleris, Kellery chart. What is feminine genitive singular? What's the ending? It's the is. So see the feminine, you're looking at the plurals. You're looking at the plurals. Look at the singular. There's two charts. Here, I'm coming to Caden. So I'm looking at the singular, because aker, acris, acre, it's one of these, and there's singular and plural. So feminine, genitive, singular. See, it's feminine, it's genitive, and it's singular. So it could be hostile, acris. What's the dative ending for the feminine singular for aker? It's the same as Keller, Kelleris. Yes, or it could be hostile, acri. What's the plural feminine nominative? You have to look at the plural chart. S, acres. These are the possible answers for number one. That's what you need to do, right? Does that make sense? This is the process. We looked at hostile and we said, what could this be? And we found out it could be three things. So that means we have three different possibilities of an adjective. It can be genitive singular, dative singular, or nominative plural. How did I get those? I looked on the chart that's like that adjective. Aker, acris, acri is like Keller, Kelleris, Kellery. And I just looked off the chart. That's what they want you to do with that exercise in your worksheet. So all of these, they give you a noun, and you have to figure out what that noun could be. It might be more than one thing. Then you need to put the adjective in parentheses. You need to make it match all the possibilities. Does that make sense? Okay. I think that's the only really thing I wanted to, and then you have some sentences to do. That's self-explanatory. Okay, let's look at the rest of your vocabulary list before I need to let you go. Let's just go back to chapter 15, vocabulary. We're going to learn 4 new nouns. The first noun is anus. Anus, ani, it's second declension, and it means year. That's why annual. If something's annual, it happens once a year. Valentine's Day is annual. Educatio, educationis. It looks like education, doesn't it? And fortunately, it means upbringing, rearing, or education. And I see its third declension because it has an is. in the genitive singular. Educatio, educationis. Ludus. Ludus, ludi, it's second declension. The same word means school or game. And mensa.
Have we learned table already?
Did we learn another? We learned cana. Did we learn another word? We might have learned another word for table. It might be a different kind of table. I'm looking over our nouns. I don't want to take the time. I don't remember.
It's like really, really like our first or third class.
This is the bad thing about doing a new book. I can't remember what order they. Possibly. But this is apparently a different kind of table. If we have learned another one. Mensa, it's first declension. Mensa, table. All right, and some verbs. Dokio, dokere, dokui, dokdom. Notice that if it were normal, it would be dokio, dokere, dokui, dokitum. It is not normal. It's dokdom. And it means teach. Disco, discory, didiki does not mean to dance under a flashing ball. Disco. It means learn. Do you guys even know what disco is? Does that even mean anything to you?
Oh,
Dancing under a flashing ball, a disco ball?
yeah.
Okay. It's just like how old am I now? Yeah, I'm very old. Okay. And scribo, scribery, scripsy, scriptum. This is easy. Write. Scribble, script. Okay. So learn your new words, learn the principal parts, do the worksheet. I promise you we will be spending at least one more week on this lesson, okay? But take your time on where you have to find out the different forms of the adjective. That's where you're going to start really learning them, but you're not going to be able to rush through that. It's going to take, you might not want to do them all at one time. You're going to have to look at the noun and say, what are all the possible things this noun could be? Now, which kind of adjective is this? Now, what are the possible adjectives that go with the possible things the noun can be? It's going to take all those steps, and you're going to have to go through them very methodically, but do it because it will help you learn them. Okay, I'm going to shut us off. All right, and then I will get